Hey, welcome back to my channel, Crafting with Cami. Today we are doing the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 collaboration. We are on pattern 9, and with the sketchbook, it gives you all the instructions. It's like a recipe. You just follow the recipe, and it gives you a couple ideas to do with those. With that sketch, it gives you a couple ideas. And it gives you some tips. So give your journaling a boost by adding some texture stamp image like the ink blot used here. So that's kind of fun. And looking at this, the first thing I notice is they have this border, but they have two different pattern papers at an angle. They cut their paper at a triangle. And I haven't done that on one of my layouts for a very long time. So I am going to follow that exact. And then down here, I noticed they did some distressing with what looks like sandpaper along this one. So I'm also going to steal that idea because that'll go great with my pictures. I'm very excited to get started on this layout. This is a collaboration with some other scrappy friends. So I will have the playlist and their videos linked in the description box below. So be sure to check them out after you watch mine here. This is going to remain a single page layout. Oh, there's a little sneak peek of today's pictures. I have my Versamat, and then I have cut my pieces down already, and I've gutted everything that can be gutted. So I got my border. These were gutted as well as cut at an angle. So I didn't want to waste all of this that would be hidden. This is some mix-in paper from the March-April mix-in collection. So I don't want to waste any of that. Those gutted, and then I have some white and some peach that will go on top. I thought the peach would bring in the pink in this little piglet. Look at! Our friends got a little piglet. They live on an acreage, and so it's like their first farm animal. They have cats and dogs, but now they have a pig, and I'm so excited for them. And obviously, I went and loved on the pig. My husband spent time with the kids. I spent time with the pig. So I have pictures of time spent with our friends, and then I do have the 2x2s that they called for. So just more pictures of me holding the pig. Yeah, I may have been a little obsessed with the pig. So those will go down here. And I did print everything with the white border. And these come like this with a 4x4 able to be printed next to it. So I just cut them down like this. I may end up cutting them further and do a smaller white border, but I'm not sure yet. So I'm leaving it like this, and I can always overlap them or cut along these pictures and butt it up against it. So I just have the one width. So I have that, and then I'm going to bring in some fun embellishments, and I'm going to be bringing in a flip flap, and I'll have my journaling behind that flip flap. Let's go ahead and clean this up and get started. I got these frames adhered together. Oh shoot, I forgot to rough this one up. You know what, we might be able to just get our finger in here. There we go. It would have been way easier with the sandpaper, but I adhered it before, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend distressing your paper this way. It wasn't the easiest task since it was already glued down, but I managed. We were able to get in there, and I just kind of added some tears here and there, and you could even wet the edges a little bit with a water brush, and that would help roll it over on itself. Okay, I got that roughed up a little bit. You can see I'm kind of having some issues down in this corner. See how it looks once I get this adhered. I might be able to add an embellishment or something there to hide that. To give this a little more dimension on this, it stands out okay over here on that periwinkle. First fly just came into the house. But it does kind of get lost with this plaid. So I'm going to take my mink ink, which is just a very light, almost beige gray. And I'm just going to ink around the edges using my foam dauber. So here's my mink topper. And I'm just going to go very lightly. It's pretty hard to see it, but it is adding a little bit of dimension here. I could even distress this one by tearing it a little bit, but I thought this would be a nice little touch and a little bit different than that. All right, I got all of that adhered. So now we'll bring our photos in. And I am going to put the flip flap on this one. So I did think about putting that one in the middle since that'll be the flip flap. I don't know. I don't like these two side by side. I want to break those up. So I am going to put the piglet in the center. And we are going to mat that on some of the pewter. And I think we'll mat... Let's just mat this one for now and see how that looks. I do like that matted, like have the mink ink going around this. What would mink look like as my journaling box? Here's a little scrap of mink, and I think I am going to have that as my journaling box. So I'll cut that down 3 by 4, and that'll go right behind here. So that'll actually go like that. And we want... This one could be tucked behind. Let's go ahead and get both of these matted on the pewter. We are going to decorate our journaling box. Bring in some toffee ink. I have this The Good Life scrapbooking stamp set. So I'm going to use that. And then from Setting the Scene, I'm using these dotted lines for my journaling. Let's start with the journaling lines first. You'll see why I chose toffee here in a moment. I did some other embellishments that have toffee. I don't want the lines to start all the way at the top, so I'm just bringing it down a little bit so I have a gap up at the top. I think I'm going to mask some of it off. I don't want it to go all the way to the bottom. Maybe right about... These were already in the stamp set. When I stamp extras, I just put them in there. But these are stamped in mocha, so I'm not sure that I want to introduce mocha on this particular layout, but I for sure want to use this windmill. So I'm thinking of stamping that in toffee on white cardstock, and then I'll use the die cut that comes along with it to cut it out. Let's just place one of these fences behind that windmill just to get an idea of what we want to do with the embellishments, and then I can always stamp that in another color. I'm masking off the bottom portion of my journaling box, and I don't want those journaling lines to go all the way to the bottom. I want some room for my embellishments just to add a little more detail to it. So we'll just stamp right about here. And if it's not perfect, that's all right. It'll be hidden by our flip flap and some embellishments. We'll set these mocha embellishments off to the side. We'll use those on a different project. I did stamp this fence in toffee, and I decided to use one of those broken fences. I'll bring this into frame here in a moment. Sorry about that. I'm using my regular tape runner on the fence here, and then I will pop up the windmill on 3D foam tape. And I like how the foam tape adds a little shadow behind it. I have all of my photos glued down. This one's going to be that flip flap, so that's my journaling spot. I have a couple more funny personal photos under here, so I'm just going to keep those hidden from the internet, but got all of these adhered. For my embellishments, this is where they had some word strips, some journaling, but since I'm doing my journaling up here, I'm not going to bring any more down here. And then they had some pumpkins. So I'm actually going to bring some embellishments down into this area. So I cut this out on my Cricut. This is from the Good Life workshop, the digital collection. So I thought of bringing that down here, and then I'm not sure what else I want to include. I could bring some more of the fence down. Let me do some thinking on this, and I'll be back. All right, I've added my embellishments. I stamped a double fence from that same Good Life scrapbooking. So I stamped and thin cut that double fence, adhered that behind my windmill. That's from the Good Life digital collection. And then this friendship stamp came from the Remember This Moment. And there's all these awesome sentiments on there. So I just did the friendship in the toffee. I'll add my flip flap here. And sometimes I'll adhere it to the page protector, other times I'll adhere it right to the page. And I do think this one will go good right on the page here, so I'll just adhere it and then I'll slice my page protector. So I'll add my journaling before I adhere that. Here is a close-up of those embellishments, and we roughed up this paper. Look at that little piglet. All right, I'll have the playlist for this collaboration and the other scrappers listed down below, so be sure to check out their videos. And until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye, guys.